My name is LeRoy Tyler. I'm the host of Innovation Up Close. This is a program centered around our website, www.ihtb.info. The purpose of this program is to bring you information about technologies, methodologies that can have an impact on being able to help communities, such as being able to help with economic development, health, and wellness. So what we're going to do tonight, we're going to tell you about things that will have an impact on you, not just the public at large as far as particularly corporations or the wealthy. We're talking about the average everyday person will be able to have information about technologies and developments that can help them with their wallet and with their health. We have targets that we want to be able to reach. We are particularly interested in reaching the poor, the middle class, our elderly, our veterans, and municipalities. These are the backbone of the communities and also of America. When we reach these groups and build them up, we build up the country. We're going to have as a special guest tonight a gentleman by the name of Dr. Samuel Peters III. This is very important or meaningful to me in terms of talking about this man, because the things that he has done in his practice are remarkable, but also what he's done for me personally is even more remarkable to me in terms of helping me with a very serious medical challenge. I can give you some information about what he's done. He's a naturopathic physician, and he's also a very highly skilled research person dealing with economic development besides that, but also dealing with the issue of being able to do research and development on expanding technologies that can be holistic and alternative in terms of their practice. I want to give you some information about an individual that he's helped with his own personal trial in dealing with his health. His name is Mr. Ken Reed. He was the publisher of the Atlanta Black Pages. For 35 years, he was on medication with high blood pressure. Dr. Peters, when he found out that he existed, Dr. Peters was able to help him take his blood pressure down from 190 over 135 and bring it down to normal. He had to deal with this for about 2 to 3 years. So Dr. Peters was able within 2 weeks to get his blood pressure down to normal, and it stayed that way ever since. With my own personal situation, I had a condition called histoplasmosis, which is calcium deposits growing in your lungs causing scar tissue. It made it very hard for me to talk. 2 years ago, it would have been impossible for me to do this program. I couldn't talk without coughing repeatedly to the point of vomiting and passing out. Dr. Peters helped me overcome this situation in about 60 to 90 days, where I could function and be able to do things normally again. So we have a lot we want to talk about tonight on dealing with alternative applications for dealing with helping people to be able to be well. There's a distinct difference between being well and being treated. Just because you're being treated doesn't mean you're being well or you're going towards wellness. We want to talk about that tonight. At this time, it is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Samuel Peters III. Dr. Peters, it's so nice for you to be here with us.
Thank you, LeRoy. I'm glad to be here.
Well, we have a lot of things we want to cover, a lot of coverage on dealing with the issues that we want to deal with tonight. We want some information about your background. Your background is fascinating. How you got started in this and what motivated you to do what you're doing.
Well, what got me started in this particular area, my father, he was a research scientist, and he worked for NASA for a number of years, and I helped him as a small child. Now, he had his own lab, and as a child, I worked in his lab, and when I worked in his lab, he taught me many different things on how to develop certain things, how to look at certain organisms, how they functioned, and how different cells function, and he gave me the foundation that I needed to move forward.
Could you please tell our viewers what your father, what he did, his training?
his training was in, actually trained, well, he went to school and he actually, it was in, not physics, but chemistry. He was a chemist. He dealt with that type of thing. He dealt with specific organisms. He dealt with his one thing that he was thinking about at that time. One thing that he developed was the T-cell accelerator. That was his theory. And what happened with that is that he developed a theory, and in turn, I had to come around from behind and try to put that theory together and make it work.
Okay, now he worked for NASA,
Yes.
right, as a research scientist.
Yes.
And you said around how old were you by the time you went into his world and he started training you about what it is that his job does? How old were you?
I was 10.
Okay.
10.
Okay, so because of that, now, there's something that you've shared with me, we've talked quite often, about what your motivation was about something that happened with your father that caused you to want to go ahead and move towards what you're doing now. Could you share that with the audience?
Yes. At first, when you're a young person, you really don't think about the things that, like you're dying or anything like that. But my father, he passed from renal failure, and
Which is kidney failure.
which is kidney failure, and he was trying to find a solution to it. And I remember last time I saw him alive, when I came to his hospital bed, he was telling me, he says, "Look, son, I need you to figure this out, because I've obviously failed at trying to figure it out." But he says that I've been looking in the box, and you need to shatter that box, because you're not going to find any answers in that box.
Wow.
And once I understood what he's saying, come out of that box, break that box up, and then you'll see clearly. And once I broke that box up, I was able to find out how things really work.
So you're talking about the box, he's talking about conventional methodology as it relates to wellness and health and medicine. Now I want to clarify, you are a naturopathic physician and an alternative medical researcher.
Yes.
Okay, so could you explain to the audience the significance of what that difference is?
When you're talking about naturopathic medicine, we look for solutions to why you're having this issue. We're not like, say, traditional medicine where we are treating symptoms, because you can't really treat a symptom and help. You can treat a symptom, but the problem is still going on. Example, a check engine light comes on in your car. Okay, you go to the mechanic says, "Look, I can fix it. I can make the light go off, but the problem still exists."
Yes.
So that's in turn the difference. We would go in and figure out what's wrong. Okay, you need, a sensor. We put the sensor in, now the problem is fixed.
I see.
Yeah.
So you're saying in essence that you're more towards dealing with the issue of the cause as opposed to the symptom. And so we have a lot of ground, we have limited time, but we have a lot of ground to cover. You have developed 4 major technologies or methodologies in terms of products as well as a medical device that we want to get covered in this interview. The first thing is Kidney Restore. I would like you to explain, take a couple of minutes to explain what it is and what it does and how you came up with it.
Okay. Kidney Restore is a supplement that is designed in such a way, what we use is a type of bio-type programming. And that's, that bio-programming actually combines certain herbs together where they work together in a small amount. And once they are introduced into the system, into your body absorbs it, and your cells know exactly what to do with this.
I see.
And the cells are able to repair, the cells are able to repair itself. And so far as the kidney is concerned, the cells know how to repair it.
Okay, now this is a process that when you're dealing with what it does, when you have had individuals who were diagnosed that said their kidneys are non-functioning, they will not be able to be restored or revived, you've gone beyond that threshold and you've actually brought back people's functioning of their body to where they said it could not function anymore.
That's correct. Many people that may be experiencing kidney failure, your doctor may have told you you're at stage 3 or stage 4, and that's it. You're going to go on dialysis, and that's it. But because they're treating the symptoms and not treating why, that's where I came in and treat why, and the Kidney Restore is able to regenerate those particular nephrons that are in the kidney. The nephrons itself absorb water and filter out blood. Mm-hmm. So many physicians or scientists may say, hey, that's impossible, but it's possible.
You brought people back off of dialysis.
Yes, I wouldn't say that I brought them off. I would say that their own cells, your body has the ability to do it itself.
Yes.
I just provided what it needed to do it.
Yes. Okay, so that is a major threshold right there, being able to do that where they can be able to function and have a normal life again. The other process I'm looking at is something called Alpha 7. Okay, what is this? How did you come up with it?
Okay, Alpha 7 is a antioxidant. It's probably one of the world's most powerful free radical fighter that I believe that there is. Simply because this particular Alpha 7 has the ability to fight off radicals. And people may not know what radicals are, but they are unstable molecules. And these unstable molecules may be referred to in, say, other scientists may refer to them as viruses, bacteria, still unstable molecules. I see. So, but in the naturopathic world, we have to refer to it as radicals. I see. So, what I understood, the way radicals work, they are missing electrons. So if they are missing an electron, they become highly unstable, and they seek out to find another electron. So they go on an electron stealing rampage, and once they do this, the next cell does the same thing over and over and over until there's no stopping it. But Alpha 7 is able to donate without becoming unstable, is able to donate the electron to that cell so it becomes stable. Okay. And the body heals itself.
Well, you say it donates the electron.
Yes.
Is there anything else that's going on there in the function of how this process works in terms of how it interacts and gives signals to cells to do what needs to be done to correct the problem? Does it do that?
You're probably referring to natural killer T cells.
Yes.
Now, natural killer T cells are scavengers, and they can scavenge the system. They don't need any help, but they will transmit signals. If natural killer T cell captures this renegade cell, it will break it down, and in turn, breaking it down, destroying it. Mm-hmm. And once it destroys it, it transmits another signal to the helper T cell. Helper T cell takes this fragments and it looks at it and says, hey, I need to create copies of this, and it copies it. It tells the B cells, look, begin manufacturing this antibody, and it manufactures its antibody.
Okay, now I know I have some familiarity with this because this is what you had me use when I had the problem with histoplasmosis, which is the buildup of calcium in the lungs, and I was taking Alpha 7, and there was times I would cough so loud that my neighbor walking her dog on the street could hear me coughing through my walls of my house with the windows closed, or I'd be breathing so hard that I'd be in my bedroom with the door closed. My other family members would be in their bedroom with the door closed, and they could hear me breathing down the hall through two closed doors. So at one point, I lost 40 pounds without trying, and I didn't know whether or not I was going to live. So taking Alpha-7, that was one of the first things that you prescribed to me to help me to deal with the issue of what was going on in my lungs.
Yes.
Okay, so what you're saying then, that's part of the process that helped the cells in my lungs to be able to restructure itself. Now I can lift weights. I can do going to the curb, taking out the garbage, come back to my garage. I passed out. Now I can go ahead and do about 32 hour of cardio and then go lift weights for about another hour, an hour and a half. So that's the turnaround factor I'm looking at as far as what this does. Time is getting away. I want to talk about the T-cell accelerator, TCA. This is a medical device that you've developed. It's fascinating. People understood, they come to understand what it does and how you developed it. Explain what this process is and what its potential is, please.
Okay, what this is not a medical device. It is a alternative medical device.
Alternative, I see, got you.
And this device has the ability to transmit signals, and it transmits a signal where a cell can understand to attack or not attack. Cells are very simple. And with the T-cell accelerator, we're able to transmit a signal through tissue. And for example, a diabetic patient, somebody that came in with a diabetic wound, their physician said that they were going to have to remove it because it was going to go septic, and it was a clear hole in that particular part of their body hole in their toe.
I believe that's being brought up where it's being shown where the viewing audience can see this. The photo of the woman's foot with the hole that you're talking about and how badly infected it was, it went for a period of time where it would not heal, right?
That's correct.
About how long was that?
From what she described, it was a year and a half.
Without healing at all?
Without healing at all, just packing it with gauze and regular antibiotics. That's all that was done.
So you used the T-cell accelerator. How long did it take you to put it on the foot and to give it any type of the process of being able to try to correct it? How long did it take you to do that?
Since she had a diabetic wound, she had neuropathy as well, no circulation in her feet, and it took exactly 1 minute to. I'm sorry, not 1 minute. 1 minute. It took I think it was 2 minutes to actually restore circulation, because we just transmitted a signal. That's all we did. Transmit a signal. The body understood that the cells were not absorbing nutrients like it should, and once it was able to correct it, the body was able to take it from there.
Okay, now how long did it take for it to go from the time you first applied the technology to the point where her foot healed?
Oh, okay. Total time that it took for it to heal, the wound closed in 60 days.
60 days.
60 days.
And so she had this problem for over a year.
Yes.
And so within 60 days after you dealt with it, the wound closed and her foot became normal again.
That's correct.
Okay. The T-cell accelerator, this seems like it's something that you would see out of Star Trek. So in terms of it being futuristic, what is the potential of what this device can do?
Well, the T-cell accelerator could go. It has infinite applications. We've gone a little further. We developed the T-cell accelerator X, which uses light waves. And we had a situation where a person had a spider bite. Mm-hmm. And the spider bite, the spider bit the person, and it caused a wound. Mm-hmm. And the only other treatment is you either have to have the area cut out, or we use a T-cell accelerator X, and T-cell accelerator X is able to close that wound, and it can close it in about 2 minutes now. We were able to cause the cells to replicate faster than the venom could.
How long
But it
was the
would-
wound open before you did it?
It stayed open for 2 days,
For 2 days.
yes, and it was getting worse.
And so it closed within how much time?
It closed in 2.5 minutes.
Wow. Okay, this is it's interesting that the time is here on us, but when you look at that as far as the applications of the T-cell accelerator, that's fascinating. But there's something else now that you've developed that I really would like to take some time to talk about. It is called telomeres.
Telomere.
Okay, now I know that there are other individuals, there are other research and development laboratories have been dealing with this as well, but you've done something differently with what it is that you're able to do with this particular technology. But first, please explain what it is to the audience, because it sounds like something out of science fiction, but it's very real, and we're going to give some examples or proof of it tonight. Please explain what a telomere is.
Telomere is the ends of the chromosomes. At the very end of your chromosome, the telomere exists, and these chromosomes allow your body, allow your cells to divide, allow you to grow and age. And when you grow and age, you're gonna get old.
Yes.
Anyway, you're gonna get old.
Now, the telomere itself, could you explain what it is that's going on as you're going through the aging process? What is actually happening to this chromosome?
Well, every time the telomere divides, you lose more telomeres, and it shortens each time it divides. And whenever that telomere shortens, like I said, you're gonna age. And what we had to do differently is cause the body to tell itself, look, you're going in the wrong direction, to get it to go the other way. And
Now that sounds, to say that sounds interesting, but how do you tell the human body to do something that has been programmed to do for hundreds of thousands of years, that you don't do that anymore, you do this now? How do you train the cells to do that you're saying instead of aging, it stops and it reverses, and the human body starts getting younger again and healthier again? How do you do that?
well, see, the theory is actually based on the oldest living man. Mm-hmm. And the oldest living man, I believe, is Methuselah, right?
Yes,
It was 969.
Yes.
Now, since that is true, the DNA is already in us,
Okay.
right? It's in us, but
I don't like that, but I see what you're saying.
it's depressed.
Mm-hmm.
So what you have to do is get the body to access telomerase. And that's a particular enzyme that is in the cells itself. But if it accesses telomerase, that means that the cell becomes immortal.
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 So you're saying that, I know you said that for every year you take the telomere and you have it in a tablet form,
Yeah.
it takes your body clock back 3 years.
Yes.
Okay. And you said it takes you back to what is the age that it goes back to and stops? What is that?
In theory, it's 25.
Okay.
You go back to the age of 25. My theory is that your telomeres begin to drop off at age 35. That's why you begin to, study decline in age.
Oh, now, we have some proof of this we want to show our audience. You're a pretty young man, but you evidently grayed prematurely quite fast, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Okay. So what we want to do is we want to show the audience, this is what his photo looked like before he took his technology to turn back his body clock to make himself younger. Also, you said that your mother, she started taking it, and she was almost invalid where she could barely walk up and down stairs. She said about 4 stairs from one part of her house to the other part. She could barely walk up those stairs. And since she's taken it, now she's cutting the lawn in her front yard with a hedge,
Weed eater.
a weed eater. And she's moving energy, everything else, the vitality.
Yes.
Oh, so now, this is what his photo looked like before he started taking it. Could you please lower your head so they could see that the dark spots in there were not dark as of last March of 2014. Since last March of 2014, he started taking the technology, and now his hair is getting darker, particularly you can't see the back. All in the back was white. Now, about 60% of your hair in the back is black. So, in essence, your body is getting younger.
Yes.
Okay. Now, I've started on that just this week, and I'm anticipating looking at how this is going to work for me in terms of the idea of getting younger. As you get younger, then actually you're getting healthier.
That's correct.
Okay. So, this all sounds futuristic. It sounds like Star Wars. But the thing that fascinates me, you made this possible for people who don't have the means to have access to technology like that the wealthy would have access to. The working class can do this. They can have access to everything that you talked about. Every innovation can affect the working class people. Now, how did you do that?
Well, first of all, I had to develop everything myself. I didn't have the luxury of having the finest research labs. I didn't have that luxury. Having people donate money and that type of thing, and I had to use my own money, and I used my own money, and I was able to take the very least and make something out of it.
Mm-hmm. Well, that is amazing unto itself that you've done this. You have a practice. You can find Dr. Peters at his website, www.qrdinc.com. That's QRD, Q as in quick, Q as in R as in Robert, D as in dog, INC.com. And they can find out how they can access your product line, your technology, and also you started a practice where you're going to have alternative health practices to be able to reach the community here in Metro Atlanta and be able to counsel people on how because you have brought people back who are on the point of getting ready to die. You brought them back from the edge of death with your practice.
That's correct.
Okay. Dr. Peters, this has been extraordinary. When you have things like this, individuals like yourself, it seems like the time just accelerates. And I really thank you a lot for coming here and taking the time to be here with us this evening. We're going to be hearing quite a bit more about you in the months and time to come in terms of how you'll be able to help people in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, LeRoy.
My pleasure. This is what we're talking about. This is an example of why we need to have a process for being able to find out what is innovative, what works, what's safe, what's affordable, so that the average person can be able to have access to it. So we've done that. We're working on that. We want to have this be a program where you have innovation from some of the brightest minds that are out there around the country and other parts of the world that have a better idea that can actually help people save their lives, have an impact on your wallet, impact your finances, impact the environment, impact education. The things that we need solutions for now. That's what we're doing. We have something called Win Now. Go to our site, www.ihtb.info. There's a campaign called Win Now, which means wellness through innovation now in our communities. You're going to find out about something called Resource. It's called Rest Stop Resources. And also there's another resource called Destination Resources. Find out about that and see what we're going to be doing with that. And also an update from the last program, the individuals, Bill Rigby, George Cole, they're going to be working together to bring economic development to cities. They're going to be working also with America's projects to help bring their technology and their innovations to cities. Look at us, see what we're doing. We're thankful for being here to share this information with you. We look forward to being of service to you, and thank you very much for your time tonight.